4 had to be the greatest game I've ever played in the year of 2015. It had to be hands down game of the year. It got me addicted to playing it for like a few weeks or so before I have to get over it and get with life and shit. But this game was just hands down perfect. Like, as far as, there are still bugs and glitches. They have added a new system, but they are still in the same kind of system. So they kind of like, they kept the old system, even though those were with the bugs and glitches that they still haven't fixed. But they added on something new, like the crafting system, the food, the way that you can now make your food is a lot cooler. You can now construct things, so you can build your own settlement and stuff like that. And there are like 3 or 4 main factions in the game that you get to help. There's the Minutemen, the Brotherhood of Steel, and then there's the Institute, aka the Synths. Well, they're not synths directly, but they created the synths, so they're somehow linked together. And I decided, I'm currently doing Minutemen missions. I haven't beaten the game, but do you have to beat a game to be able to review it? Especially if this game is more that you could put in more than 100 hours in before you even beat the story. Because this game, Fallout 4, is a free roam. After you even beat the game, you can still do side quests. So it's one of those kinds of games that you can actually put in 100 hours and still review the game. You don't have to beat the game to review the game, so I'm going to be reviewing the game from where I'm at. My character, like, the game starts off in the pre-war, like, during, the Great War era, which is, like, 200 years prequel to the Fallout 4 event, and your character has a baby named Sean. I don't know why you can't even name him something else. And your son is a baby, right? And you get to construct you get to create yourself and your wife. And somehow you and your wife, they fuse together as far as characteristics to make your son. So, like they bang bang and then the son comes out looking like both the parents. And then you find out that you go to the TV, right? Your robot Codsworth talks to you guys about, the TV is up. It's talking about the news. Oh, bad news, not good news. A nuclear war broke out. So this is the war between China and the U.S. United States annexed Mexico and Canada. And the fall of the Soviet Union, China ended up taking over. And so it was a big war. China had to annex Russia in order to get to Alaska. So look how big these two were. United States was as big as the North. The United States basically was North America itself. And they had to fight over Alaska. I remember this because I was playing Fallout 3. There was a add-on called Operation Anchorage, and this Anchorage add-on was actually a really good add-on. That was actually by far one of my favorite DLCs, besides Broken Steel. And so this game overall was great, hands down. There were still tons of bugs and glitches, don't get me wrong. The ocean, there was too much radiation. I like the game mechanics a lot better than Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, the gaming mechanics. But as far as the setting goes, it's better than Fallout 3 in my opinion, but I kind of like the New Vegas settling. And as far as like factions go, I kind of still like New Vegas better because of the fact that Caesar's Legion and NCR were just by far my favorite 2 big factions. I mean, a lot of people are going to say, dude, Brotherhood of Steel all the way. I mean, I only like Elder Maxon in the game because that guy was just like strict. This guy was like, we gotta, those synths, they gotta go. They gotta be extinct. They are an extermination of mankind. These guys, the Institute is what's playing God in their hands. So the synths basically aren't even God's creation. They're man-made creation. And the Institute are basically playing themselves as gods. And they're not. So what Elder Maxon wants to do, he wants to kill them all. Kill them all. And then you find out eventually, because your son gets kidnapped in Vault 111 by this guy named Kellogg. Kellogg ends up shooting your wife in the head because you guys get frozen for like 200 years. But then, 70-something years later, or 70-something years before Fallout, the current events of Fallout, something like that, I can't remember, Fallout 4. Yeah, your son gets kidnapped by Kellogg. Kellogg ends up being, somehow when you meet Kellogg again, he still looks exactly the same as he did during that time because he became like a human ghoul. The Institute did something to really slow down his aging process. So he's basically the perfect human, kind of. He's kind of immortal, kind of like Wolverine, how he's a slow aging process. So it's like that. And overall, this game was great. 10 out of 10 in my opinion, this game. I mean, if I had to play this game, I haven't been able to beat it yet because the game gets me too distracted. I end up forgetting where Sean is, but I've spoiled the cell for myself. I spoiled the ending for myself. I've seen it all. So I'm just there drinking the Kool-Aid. And by far, what I really wanted in this game was the Legion. I wanted Caesar's Legion to end up going east. Back Legate Lanius. I wanted to see Legate Lanius go east and become the new Caesar. Then he ends up forming his own tribes there out east, and then they become a big faction eventually. They're probably going to be like remnants, just like the Enclave from Fallout New Vegas. They were remnants, and I really hope they Fallout 4. What I really wanted in Fallout 4 is more DLCs, and hopefully they can bring back the Enclave, or you end up going to Chicago, and then you got to help them out. So you gotta do something. I don't know. Fallout 4, Bethesda kind of like fucked shit up in Fallout. Like they kind of went the same old. Like there's the same shit they have in Fallout 3, New Vegas, and Fallout 4. The same bugs and glitches that they've never been able to fix. What else? The frame rate drops a lot. And the graphics just like, it'll go on and off all the time. So you gotta have the game on PC in order to get it perfectly, and you gotta mod your game to make it perfect. So no matter how high you put the quality on, you put it on 4K or whatsoever, it's not gonna work without mods. Because modding is something that Bethesda has themselves that they want you to make the game better. So that's all I wanted to say overall. This game was great. When you meet your son in the game, he ends up being an old man, and that's kind of crazy. Like your son's Sean, and then he has a kid that you thought was Sean, but it was actually a synth. And eventually, it's deja vu. But you get a bunch of great companions overall. You get Piper, Codsworth, Nick Valentine, Paladin Dance, and the dog meat. And there's just a lot of great companions out there. And the world is huge to explore. There's just so much things. I end up forgetting I actually forget finding Sean was important. Like, I gotta build my settlement. That's even more important than finding Sean. The Minuteman just keeps me going, But that's all I wanted to tell you guys. Drop me a like if you haven't subscribed. This is JJD Uchiha, and I'd recommend you get this game at $60.